this all used to be railway property. There were a couple of buildings left from the railway that came down last year, and they put up a new one. Unfortunately, we missed getting that on video, or even getting a tour. One of them was right in here where this gray building is now. This is where the roundhouse and turntable was located, the car shop. There was a rail car manufacturer called Siliker, and they built wooden rolling stock, freight and passenger cars, and that was up in this area somewhere. I don't know exactly where it was. That's good.
There's a set of tracks in here too.
Yep, look in there. Get a look at that. So this is one of the remainders of rail, is along Yonge Street right here, behind this building. So this building would have had rail service at some point. Just flip around so you can get a shot there. And then across the street over to that building on the other side of Yonge Street there. The rails were taken out, I don't know, for the past 2 or 3 years in the parking lot on the opposite side. But they're still here. Now we're on Roby Street, and this is another bit of track remaining in pavement. Right up here. Looks like it ends right there.
Right there. The cars are parked on it.
Yeah. The Willow Park Spur, as far as I know, had rail service into the late 80s. I don't actually remember this being an active railway. I do remember more of the roadbed along Kemp Road before the land was redeveloped. We're going to whip over to Kemp Road now and have a look at that area.
Yeah.
Whoops. We're on Kemp Road, and from what I remember, the railbed ran along this side of Kemp Road here in the early 90s. This is one little reminder here that there was a railway here along Kemp Road, even though it's hard to tell now, is a CN private crossing sign. Even though it's quite faded, it's still there. So that's one little reminder. And this is mostly car dealerships and businesses now. So like I said, the railbed ran right along the edge of the street there, just to the left. And then this is definitely a reminder that there was a railway here, is this steel bridge. Pretty good shape. And the other reminder is the other railway bridge here over Massachusetts Avenue. You can drive right onto it so you can have a look. And there was another one over a highway there that disappeared back in the early 2000s. And just on the other side of the roadbed there on the right was a piece of rail. Let me get out of the car. We're on Lady Hammond Road. That's the bridge there we're just on. And it looks like there was a siding into this building here. May have gone down to some other industries that way. And then the line roadbed is right in here. It looks like it's still used for either maintenance vehicles or sign companies to bring their trucks in here. Things like that.
The roadbed's more on the right.
Yeah. So it still does see some use.
There's a tie right there.
Yep. Some ties in the trees there.
Just so everyone knows, we're technically not on the roadbed because it's not lined with the bridge.
Yeah.
So the roadbed's more right in there.
Yeah, that's it.
where all the shrubbery is overgrown.
Yeah.
And then it gets in line with it further up. And somewhere right around here is where the road is.
Yeah, down in here was a siding into this business. I've walked down here before. Have a look at that. There's a loading ramp there. So this looks like it would have been a stub end siding right here. And then we see the roadbed profile here. Ballast along the bank. And stuff like this. Clinker. Definitely a sign that there were trains here. So we think the roadbed was probably right either here or just to the right along that fence.
Or right on the fence. The fence is right on the roadbed, sorry.
Yeah.
We'd have to look at an old aerial photo.
General area.
That looks like a cleanser sign.
Yeah, it could be a signpost. Or not. Who knows? Anyway, just finally getting some nice weather. And we
This sort of looks fine.
thought we'd get out and do a little exploring.
Yeah, I guess they do.
Yeah.
And stuff. So this is looks like where the roadbed was.
Right.
So there's a little bit of evidence.
Yep.
It's all pure speculation, though.
Well, I wouldn't say so. I mean, we don't know the exact profile, but we know that there was a rail line here into the 80s. Exploring in Halifax is a little more of a challenge in the city because obviously land is going to be redeveloped.
There's looks like some tie.
Yeah, there's a tie. So the clues are a little harder to find
If you don't know
than
what
in
to
the
look.
rural areas. Like this to me looks like ballast. This line wasn't ballasted well. You know, it was probably clinker for the most part, and then maybe dumped,
Something there too,
maybe CN just dumped in, you know, spots of ballast where they needed it.
Okay, now this looks more like roadbed here that we're on, so it probably,
Yeah, there's a little bit of a bank there.
but who knows? I mean, there could have been spurs off down into there too.
Yeah,
Oh,
ignore that. The dragon's got to let off steam. Yeah, we've got a bit more of a profile of roadbed right along here. Road. Right, so, yep. Got some more ballast here.
we are on the roadbed.
So now we're looking at the top of the bridge over Kempt Road. I mean, I'm no structural engineer, but as far as I can tell, this looks like a decent bridge that could be moved and used for another railway somewhere else.
There's a piece of tie.
Yep.
Some evidence of the railway.
Little section of a tie there, buried in the ground. And then, so the roadbed just basically goes to the end of this bridge. And as we saw earlier, we were driving along Kemp Road, this road right here, that the roadbed had all been redeveloped along that section.
Yeah, the track probably makes a curve to the left, or a slight curve that continues on to where we just were.
It's really not much reason to keep this bridge here anymore because, you know, it's not like it could really be developed into a trail network.
It doesn't go anywhere. This goes nowhere, so what's the point?
Yeah.
And that's it.
We're back at the bridge just by Lady Hammond Road, over the highway. That's Massachusetts Avenue down there, which goes out onto the McKay Bridge, or as Allegonians will call it, the New Bridge, because we also have the McDonald Bridge, which is 20 years older.
Not used for, I wonder.
Probably for the crossing. Maybe it was a manually operated circuit.
Take a picture of the photo button. Good. Yeah, got it.
Okay. And off in the distance here, so it's going to be really windy. Sorry about that, folks, but off in the distance there is Rockingham Yard.
Looks like they're maintaining this bridge.
That was built around Rockingham, I believe, was built with the fill that came out from the rock cut, which went downtown to Ocean Terminal, and that was built at the end of the First World War. And there was a pretty substantial amount of rock that had to be removed through the cut, and that rock was used to make Rockingham Yard. So Rockingham is all man-made.
High rail, yeah. No, nothing.
Nothing.
Today's train is 1:36, scheduled from Willow Street to the depths of... Oh, there's rail in there.
Yeah, there's the rail. I knew there was a piece of rail in here somewhere. Off in the distance there is a piece of rail that's been buried. These houses probably date from the early 2000s. And the property butts right up against the roadbed here. They did leave enough space for a trail.
But one was never put in.
Yeah. And the container port there is Ceres, and that's Halifax's second container pier. The other one is Halterm. Halterm was built first in the 60s, I believe, and then Ceres came along in the 70s or early 80s. Post-Panamax cranes, I think. Maybe not, I don't know. I'm sure there are people out there who know a lot more about shipping than me.
Yes, we know a lot about shipping.
Yeah, the property here, like I say, they brought the yards up for these new houses right up to the, pretty much onto the roadbed, because the roadbed would go out so many feet on each side from the center that the railway would have owned. But like I said, they didn't leave enough for a walking trail. But it isn't really much of a trail because it ends just up ahead.
It literally goes nowhere.
Once the old rail bridge was taken out back in the early 2000s. Yeah.
There was one, then there was an abutment in the middle of the highway, and then there's another bridge over top of it. Yeah, this is the entrance access path here. So-called railway. And pretty much just a few hundred meters up ahead is the end of it, and then on the other side is continuation to the shipping thing.
Yeah, well, the trail comes out basically where the intermodal terminal is now, and the grade profile has been changed at the end. We'll probably cover that one in another day, because we can actually start our walk out from that point and then come up to the other side of the highway, which is where we're going to end here in a minute.
It's only about 15-minute walk anyways.
Yeah. So at this point, we're almost at the end of the peninsula, and that area, basically just the other side of the highway, was an area called Africville. It was a black community that the city basically demolished, and they said it was for the construction of the new bridge, although as far as I can tell, if they had actually done proper expropriation, they could have left most of the community intact. So it was an excuse just to tear down the community and redevelop the land, although they never really did a whole lot with it, because a lot of it's just park now. And yeah, more or less to get people out of that area, and they moved them into the
Put it all back.
inner core of the city. So we can see straight ahead where the bridge was taken out.
I think that was taken out like 2005, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it was early to mid 2000s.
2005, 2004. Don't quote me on that, but
One of the overpasses here, I guess, was at the end of its life, and a new one was put in. So straight ahead.
that overpass he's talking about was basically kind of curved up along where you're seeing there.
Yeah.
Over and under those two bridges, and it was just a dead end. It went nowhere.
Well, it wasn't a dead end, but this overpass here, the upper one, is the one that replaced the old one. And when they did it, they changed the profile of the old roadbed, because yeah, it would have gone obviously straight across here.
Used to go straight, and this is the end of it.
So this is the end. The concrete footing is still here at this end of it, obviously gone at the other end, and everything changed.
At the other end, there's no. I walked up there, and as far as you can go, it's just you can't really find the roadbed after a certain point. It's gone.
Yeah.
Well, we'll take a look at that at another time, but this is where it used to be. Hello folks, we're on the other side of the Willow Park Spur. Myself and Maritime Rail Fan covered the section on the opposite side of the bridge, and we walked out towards the old pier, or not the old pier, but the old down there's the CN main line heading through the yard. Back that way is where the spur met up with the rail yard on Africville Road down there, where that cyclist down there, as you can see, that's the end of the where he's. And it continued across the street. Sorry about the camera. It continued down across the street and into the I believe it was a bottom yard. Can't remember. I'll put a picture up later on of it. Camera's giving me a little difficulty, sorry folks. So anyway, this spur went up to Willow Park that we showed in the previous video, and I'm just gonna get off the bike here. I don't want to ride it. So this is the other half of it. I think I covered this in an earlier video. I don't exactly remember. But anyway, I'm just going to cover this side of it up to the bridge, well, where the old bridge used to go. We got clinker. I mean, this end of it is pretty noticeable. I don't really need to explain much. I think this part was single track, or I'm not sure if it was double. It looks wide enough. It might have been double at one time. Don't quote me on that. And there's the McKay Bridge overhead. I'm not sure when this line was abandoned. We did find some aerial photos, which I will post as well. Some concrete, not sure what that was used for. Could have been part of the original piers. Yeah, so this line basically went around and then it gets cut off by the highway. Oh, I actually just came across a tie plate, I think. Yeah. Right here on the ground, it looks like an old tie plate. Oh, you can see it, but that's it. I think that's, I'm pretty sure that's, yeah, this is a tie plate. It's buried in there pretty deep. The bike's a little heavy today, my legs are killing me. Here's some clinker. Lots of clinker here. Yeah, so just look at the I'm going to see this. There's some more of that metal. I'm not sure if that's a, that could also be a rail joiner. It's hard to tell. Looks like we're finding some railroad debris on this side. Anyway, it doesn't go too far. It just goes up around the corner and just ends. I came up here before. There's some dike in there. A load wall, I think. If I'm not mistaken, I think this section of it, well, I don't know. Yeah, it's pretty nice. I think it was 1994, 92, somewhere along there. They took the bridge out. See, that path goes up that way. That's not railway related at all. It sort of goes up on a little bit of a grade to about bridge level, then it crosses over. So this video and the first part of the Willow Park Spur video, just so everybody's aware, it has been filmed on 2 separate days. So it has not been filmed on the same day. Like most of my videos, I probably said some useless stuff. So just so you guys know, this video is going to be basically at the end of it. There's a lot of clinker on this end of it. A lot of just take a look at some of this ballast. And there's a chunk of burnt coal right there, or something. Hold on, I just want to let this human go by and then continue the video. Anyway, that is just another section. It kind of goes up into a Y there, but I don't know if that's a part of the track or not, or that went somewhere else. I remember, I think I went down there before, and it just stops. And I looked on the maps, and I didn't notice a spur section, but you know, it just goes down there. I don't know, could have been another siding. Anyway, this just goes up here and that's it. That new section there you're looking at straight ahead, I believe is the new part, the road. This is where the rail line gets kind of confusing because like they made a lot of changes. Like, I mean, you've got paths like off this. That's not railway. That's just a random path. I think it used to go straight and then, like all railroad profile. Yeah, I'd have to look on Google Earth to see exactly how this went. Yeah. Maybe it did curve, I don't know. From the looks of the clinker on the ground, it actually came up this way, and this is it. And it basically sort of turns here and goes and meets the, on the other side is the bridge. And that's pretty much it for the Willow Park Spur. This is the section leading down into the yard, and that's it. Now, I came down that little siding thing that looked like a siding. Now it's just an old road for the old Africville town site. Just to give you guys a little history lesson, Africville was a colored community that was destroyed to make way for the McKay Bridge, as you can see off in the distance. I don't exactly remember the dates, but it was roughly pre-Halifax explosion, I think. I don't exactly remember. Anyway, the rail line went around it and went off to the bridge. I don't know if they had a station here, but I do know this was quite a large community, and there's not very much of it, so this is a good area to come check out. It's a great hiking place, and you know, if you're interested, but I just thought I'd give a little bit of history behind the area. But yeah, this is the old town site, and I think this is one of the old roads, main roads. I'm not sure. I said I don't really know the area too well, so. But yeah, now we're gonna head up back to the main line, head back down, and then go look at some interesting locomotives. I think there's a little bit of foundation in there too. I mean, this was a big area. There's, I think, 100 or so homes and a church and schoolhouse and all that sort of stuff. So it was a pretty large area. It was not small by any means. But anyway, I thought I'd let you guys a little history lesson of the area, and that's it for the Willow Park Spur. And I believe I hear a train coming. Giving you guys the old one-handed camera bike ride experience that I used to do back in the old days. That's not really that much of old days. You can put a paved trail down through here. That's quite nice. I'm almost tempted just to give the horn a toot, but I think I'll pass. Might confuse drivers.
I am an idler, wandering idler. I pay for my 4 hours, I will win the truth. Up to the chimney to merit a holiday, and that was my life, so I open the snooze. Oh no, oh yeah, I lost my train of thought again. Oh no, oh yeah, I lost my train over.
If I made a video of this before, I think I did, and I apologize, this is just a copy of another video I did earlier. Okay, with that said, we are approaching the new end of the Willow Front. Like I said before, it used to continue right down to McDonald Bridge into 2 different yards, and from there is anyone's guess because there's not much information. Anyway folks, until next time, be well.